Introduction. The cat is both alive and dead, the superposition. In 1935, an Austrian physicist named Erwin Schrödinger proposed a thought experiment that unintentionally shattered our understanding of reality forever. Imagine a closed steel box, completely opaque. Inside the box is a cat. Alongside the cat, there is a diabolical device. A small amount of a radioactive substance so small that over the course of an hour, there is a 50% chance that one of the atoms will disintegrate and a 50% chance that it won't. If the atom disintegrates, a Geiger counter detects the radiation and releases a hammer that breaks a vial of poison, killing the cat. The question Schrödinger posed to the scientific world was simple. Before you open the box and look inside, is the cat alive or dead? Common sense shouts that it must be one thing or the other. Either the cat is breathing or it is not. But quantum mechanics gives us an answer that defies all human logic. The cat is alive and dead at the same time. Until an observation is made, the atom has not decided whether to disintegrate or not. It exists in a state of superposition. And since the cat's fate is tied to the atom, the cat is also in superposition. It is a ghost vibrating between two realities. Only at the exact moment that you, the observer, lift the lid and look is nature forced to make a decision. In that instant, the probability wave collapses and becomes a particle of unique reality. You do not discover the cat state, you precipitate the cat state. Welcome to the collapse of the wave. Perhaps you are wondering what an imaginary cat from almost a century ago has to do with your financial problems, your health, or your search for a partner. The answer is everything. You live inside Schrödinger's box. Every morning, when you wake up and open your eyes, your day is not written. Your immediate future is not solid. It is a fog of infinite probabilities floating in a state of quantum superposition. In this precise instant, a version of your day exists where everything goes wrong, where you receive bad news, where you lose money, and you fight with your partner. But simultaneously, in the same space and time, a version of your day exists where you receive an incredible opportunity, where you meet someone who changes your life, where you feel invincible. Both realities are equally possible. Both are latent. The cat is alive and dead. Success and failure are coexisting in the ether. What determines which of these two versions, or the millions of versions in between, solidifies and becomes your physical experience? You. Or to be more precise, your observation. The problem is that most human beings are unconscious observers. They wake up in the morning and, without realizing it, open the box of their day expecting to find the dead cat. They look at their life through the filter of fear, the memory of the past, negative news, or their childhood traumas. They expect the day to be difficult. They expect money to be scarce. They expect people to be hostile. And by observing with that expectation, they collapse the wave of difficulty. The universe, obedient to the laws of physics, delivers exactly the particle they were looking for. And they say, "See? I knew it was going to be a bad day." They didn't know. They created it. They collapsed it. This audiobook is not a motivational self-help text. We are not going to talk about thinking positive to feel better while the world falls apart. This is a reality engineering manual. We are going to explore the fundamental laws that govern the transition from the invisible wave to the visible particle. You will discover that matter is not solid. It is 99.9% empty space waiting for instructions. You will learn that time is not linear. It is a unified field where the future can rewrite the past. And you will understand that you are not a victim of chance, tossed about by circumstances. You are the operator of the system. You are the consciousness that decides moment by moment which version of the multiverse is downloaded onto the screen of your life. In the following chapters, we are going to stop playing dice with the universe. We are going to learn to look inside the box with intention, with laser precision, and with the authority of one who knows that the cat has no choice but to be alive if the observer so decides. Stop waiting to see what happens. Reality is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you. It is time to stop being a passive spectator of your own film. It is time to enter the projection room and put your hand on the film reel. The wave is waiting for your order to collapse. What are you going to choose today? Let's begin. Chapter 1: The Ghost Particle, Everything is Energy. The void that sustains us, the illusion of solidity. Start this chapter by doing something physical. Knock on the table in front of you, or hit the wall, or simply clap your hands together forcefully. What do you feel? Resistance, hardness, a clear limit. Your nerves send an immediate signal to your brain. This is solid, this is dense, my body ends here and the object begins. I cannot pass through it. Based on this sensory experience, which is repeated millions of times since birth, we build our philosophy of life. The world is a hard place. Problems are concrete blocks. Reality is immovable, and I am small and fragile before it. We feel like an actor of flesh and blood on a stone stage. If you want to change the scenery, you assume you need picks, shovels, sweaty effort, and brute force. But I have news that will contradict everything your senses have screamed at you for years. Your senses are lying to you. Or, to be fairer, your senses offer you an extremely simplified and pixelated version of reality. If we had the ability to look at that solid table with the vision of a quantum physicist, reality would dissolve before your eyes. Imagine we zoom microscopically into the wood of the table. First we would see the fibers, then the cellular structures, then the cellulose molecules, and finally we would arrive at the atoms. This is where common sense dies. We were taught in school that the atom is like a miniature solar system. A solid nucleus in the center and electrons orbiting around it like planets. We imagine small solid marbles. That model is useful for drawing on the blackboard, but it is false to scale. If the nucleus of an atom were the size of a basketball located in the center of a professional football stadium, where would the electrons be? In the goal? In the stands? No. The electrons would be pinheads orbiting in the stadium parking lot miles away. And what is between the basketball nucleus and the parking lot electron? What fills the entire stadium, the stands, the field, the air? Nothing. Absolute void. Hollow space. The atom is 99.99999% empty space. And since everything you see, touch, and are is made of atoms, the mathematical conclusion is inevitable. You are 99.9999% empty space. The chair is void. The building is void. Your bank account, even if it's full of numbers on a screen, is void. Your body is void. If we could compress the entire human race, 8 billion people, eliminating the empty space within their atoms, all of humanity would fit into the volume of a sugar cube. And that sugar cube would weigh billions of tons, because it would be pure matter like a neutron star. But in terms of volume, we are insignificant. So the million-dollar question is, if I am basically a ghost made of void, why don't I pass through the chair? Why does it hurt if I hit myself? The answer is not matter, the answer is force fields. What you perceive as solidity is in reality electromagnetic repulsion. The electrons of your hand have a negative charge. The electrons of the table have a negative charge. When you try to move your hand closer to the table, the electromagnetic fields clash. Just like when you try to bring two magnets together by the same pole and feel an invisible bubble that prevents them from joining. That repulsion force is what your brain interprets as touch. In reality, you have never touched anything in your life. You are floating at an infinitesimal distance from everything, suspended by force fields. Why is this vital for manifestation? Because it destroys the victim's #1 excuse. Reality is too difficult to change. The victim sees their poverty or their illness as a brick wall. The quantum master knows there is no brick. They know that what looks like a wall is actually an energy field held in place by a frequency. And energy fields are not broken with hammers. They are modified with signals. Albert Einstein, the father of modern physics, gave us the equation that sealed the coffin of materialism. E, mk2 $. Energy, E, is equal to mass, m, multiplied by the speed of light squared, c, $2. This means that mass and energy are the same thing, just in different states of condensation. Matter is energy that has lowered its vibration enough to become visible. Energy is matter released from its form. Imagine water. Ice is hard, solid. It can hurt you if it hits you. Matter. If you apply heat, energy, it turns into liquid water. It flows. If you apply more heat, it turns into vapor. It is invisible, expansive, and potent. It is still H2 in all three cases. Only the speed of vibration of its molecules has changed. You have been trying to mold your life by manipulating the ice. You have been pushing heavy blocks of ice, circumstances, people, physical money. This audiobook teaches you to apply heat to turn the ice into vapor. In the vapor state, thought wave, you can direct the water wherever you want with a simple breath. And then when you lower the temperature, it will freeze again with the new shape that you have chosen. This is the nature of the ghost particle. Reality is not a thing. It is an event. It is a verb, not a noun. Your body is not a fixed structure. It is a river of atoms that enter and exit. Every year you replace 98% of the atoms in your body. You are not the same matter you were last year. You are a form sustained by an energetic memory. If you understand this, fear disappears. You cannot be trapped in a situation because the situation is not solid. The situation is a cloud, and clouds move with the wind. The wind is your consciousness. In this first part, I want you to change your internal vocabulary. Stop saying, "This is real." Start saying, "This is densified energy." Stop saying, "It is unmovable." Start saying, "It is a frequency that has been temporarily stabilized." When you take away reality's label of solid, you take away its power to intimidate you. You realize that the physical world is not the territory, it is the map, and you have the pencil and the eraser. But if everything is void and energy, what is it that keeps the atoms of your table held together in the shape of a table and not in the shape of an elephant? What is it that keeps your financial problem frozen in the same form month after month? There is an invisible glue. There is a force that collapses energy into repetitive patterns. That glue is you. In the second part of this chapter, we will explore how your own observation acts as the mold that keeps energy trapped in the form of your problems, and how withdrawing that observation is the first step to dissolving the ice. The quantum mirror matter as the echo of the mind. We have established that the universe is an ocean of vibrant energy and empty space. But if we look around, we don't see chaos. We see order. We see persistent forms. Your car is still a car in the morning. Your debt is still the same figure. Your back pain is in the same place. If everything is fluid energy, why does my life seem so static and repetitive? The answer takes us to the heart of quantum mechanics and spirituality. Matter is a loyal servant of consciousness. Energy in its natural state, wave, is pure potentiality. It can be anything. It is like formless clay. For that clay to take the shape of a chair or a crisis, it needs a mold. It needs an instruction. That instruction is your expectation and your memory. Max Planck, the father of quantum theory, made a statement that shook the scientific community. There is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of one all matter. Matter has no will of its own. The atoms in your body do not decide to age or get sick on their own. The atoms in your bank account do not decide to leave. They simply respond to the signal sent to them by the field. And the most powerful signal generator in your local reality is you. Imagine you are a movie projector. The white light of the projector is the pure energy, the quantum field. It is neutral, powerful, and formless. The film, the reel of tape, are your beliefs, your thoughts, and your habitual emotions. The screen is the physical world. If your film reel has a scene of loneliness, the light passes through it and projects loneliness onto the screen. You look at the screen reality and say, "It's real, look, I'm alone, it's a solid fact." And you run to the screen to try to change the movie. You try to move the shadows with your hands. You try to paint over the screen. It is useless. As long as the film reel still has the image of loneliness, the screen will continue to reflect it. Most people live in a negative feedback loop. They observe the current reality, the frozen past. They react emotionally to it. They confirm the signal. They collapse the energy back into the same form. You look at your bank account, observation. You feel fear, reaction. That fear tells the atoms of your reality, stay in the shape of scarcity. And scarcity perpetuates itself. Matter is only the echo of a signal you emitted yesterday. If you keep emitting the same signal today by looking at the echo, you guarantee that the echo sounds tomorrow. The ghost particle teaches us that nothing exists until you observe it. But it also teaches us that things persist only because you continue to observe them. This is a liberating and terrifying concept at the same time. It means that your problems do not have a life of their own. They are not autonomous monsters attacking you. They are holograms that you are feeding with the plug of your attention. If you could completely and radically withdraw your attention from a problem, if you could stop thinking about it, talking about it, feeling it, and fearing it, that problem would run out of battery. It would dissolve. It would return to being pure energy wave and disappear from your experience. I know it sounds like fantasy. How am I going to ignore my back pain if it hurts? How am I going to ignore the debts if the bank calls me? I am not asking you to ignore the necessary action. If you have to pay, pay. I am asking you to withdraw the energy of identity. The problem persists because you identify with it. You say, my pain, my poverty. By saying my, you anchor it to your energy field. You make it part of your atomic structure. Reality is much more plastic than you think. There are documented cases of spontaneous remission of incurable diseases in a matter of hours. Doctors call it a miracle. Physics calls it a change of state, change of... The person stopped observing the illness, stopped identifying with I am sick, and started observing health with such intensity that the energy rearranged itself. The ice melted and froze again in the form of a healthy body. To master the collapse of the wave, you first have to lose respect for matter. You have to become a little irreverent with reality. When you see a problem, instead of getting scared and saying how big and solid it is, you have to train yourself to say, this is just a cloud of electrons misbehaving. This is just an old frozen idea. It has no power over me unless I give it power. It is clay and I am the sculptor. The dedensification exercise. To close this chapter, I want to give you a practical tool to start softening your reality. For the next few days, practice looking through. When you are faced with a situation that stresses you, a traffic jam, an argument, a bill, don't stay on the surface. Use your imagination to see the atoms. Visualize that situation, that person, or that paper dissolving into a cloud of bright light dots. Visualize that it is 99% void. Tell yourself, this is not solid. This is energy, and energy responds to my command. Feel your anxiety decrease. By remembering that it is void, you take away its weight. You take away its gravity. And when you take gravity away from the problem, you become bigger than it. You go from being the victim crushed by the rock to being the observer holding the rock in their hand. You have taken the first step. You have broken the illusion of solidity. You know that the world is energy and that you are energy, but knowing it is not enough. You need to know how to operate that energy. You need to know what the exact mechanism is that converts the wave, possibility, into the particle, reality. That mechanism has a name. It is called the observer effect. Chapter 2. The observer effect, your superpower. The double slit the eye that creates matter. In the previous chapter, we discovered that matter is 99% empty space and that solidity is an illusion. That left us with a disturbing question. If everything is a soup of floating energy, why does the world seem so ordered? Why doesn't your car dissolve into a cloud of electrons while you drive? Why don't your financial problems spontaneously evaporate? To answer this, we have to travel to the most perplexing, repeated, and revolutionary experiment in the history of science, the double-slit experiment. Don't be afraid. You don't need a PhD in physics to understand it. In fact, the premise is so simple it seems like magic. Imagine you have a wall with two vertical slots, two slits. Behind that wall there is a detector screen, like a movie screen, that registers where the objects you throw through the slits hit. In front of the wall, you have a machine that shoots marbles. If you shoot marbles through the slits, you will see a very logical pattern on the back screen. Two vertical bands of marks, corresponding to the marbles that pass through the left slit and the right slit. This is what matter particles does. It travels in a straight line and hits a specific place. Now imagine you swap the marbles for water. You make waves. The waves pass through both slits at once. When they exit on the other side, the two waves collide with each other, creating a complex interference pattern, many vertical bands on the back screen. This is what energy waves does. It expands, interferes, and creates patterns of possibility. So far, so normal. Matter, two bands. Energy, interference pattern. But then scientists decided to shoot electrons. Electrons are tiny pieces of matter. They are the marbles of the subatomic world. So scientists expected to see two bands on the screen. They shot the electrons one by one. They waited, and when they looked at the screen, they were frozen. There was an interference pattern. There were many bands. The electrons, which are solid matter, had behaved like water waves. It was as if each electron had passed through both slits at the same time, collided with itself, and landed in multiple places at once. This was impossible. Matter doesn't do that. Confused, the scientists thought, maybe the electrons are colliding with each other. Let's put a camera, a detector, right next to the slits to spy and see which slit the electron actually passes through. They wanted to catch the electron in flagrante. They wanted to observe it. And here the impossible happened. The exact moment they turned on the camera to observe, the behavior changed. The electrons stopped acting like waves. They stopped creating the interference pattern. They started passing through a single slit, like obedient marbles, and formed only two bands on the screen. The scientists turned off the camera, stopped observing. The electrons went back to behaving like magical waves. They turned on the camera. The electrons went back to behaving like solid particles. The conclusion shook the foundations of reality. The electron knew it was being observed, and by being observed, it changed its fundamental nature. It went from being a wave of probability, which is everywhere at once, to being a particle of matter, which is in a fixed place. This phenomenon is called the observer effect, and it means one thing. The universe does not exist independently of you. The universe waits for you to look to decide what to be. Until you look, reality is a wave. It is fluid. It is pure potential. Schrödinger's cat is alive and dead. Your future is rich and poor. Your health is good and bad. Everything is floating in the quantum field in superposition. But in the nanosecond that you put your conscious attention on something, you force that infinite wave to collapse into a single point. You freeze it. You turn it into a thing. You are the camera in the experiment. Your eyes and your mind behind them are the instrument that turns quantum magic into boring, solid physical reality. This makes you the most powerful being in your local universe. You are not a victim of reality. You are the collapser of reality. Without you, there is no world. Without your observation, your problems would have no form. They would be just scattered energy. The problem and the reason your life seems like a struggle is that no one taught you how to operate the camera. You wake up in the morning and focus your camera, your attention, on the same old things, your pain, your debt, your loneliness. By observing them, you force them to behave like solid particles. You tell them, be real, be hard, stay there. And the electrons, obedient to their observer, align to form the experience of solid problem. If you could, even for a moment, turn off the camera, if you could radically withdraw your attention from your problem, the problem would lose its cohesion. It would not have an observer to keep it in particle form. It would have to return to its natural state, wave. And a wave is malleable. A wave can be transformed into anything. This is your superpower. You have the ability to solidify what you look at and to dissolve what you ignore. Attention is the glue of reality, and the lack of attention is the universal solvent. In the first part of this chapter, I want you to assimilate the magnitude of this. You are not fighting against a hostile external world. You are fighting against the effect of your own sustained gaze on things you don't like. You are like King Midas, but in reverse. King Midas turned everything he touched into gold. You turn everything you look at with emotion into solid reality. If you look at fear, you solidify it. If you look at illness, you anchor it. But the good news is that the process is reversible. If you learn to stop looking at what hurts you, withdrawing energy, and start looking at what you desire, focusing energy, you can dissolve the lead and solidify the gold. In the second part, we will learn how to apply the observer effect in your daily life. We will learn to use your attention like a laser beam, one that freezes the good and melts the bad. I will teach you the difference between denying reality, which is escapism, and withdrawing observation, which is quantum mastery. The laser of attention freezing and melting reality. We already know that your attention is the camera that collapses the wave. Now the pragmatic question is, how do I use this to pay my bills or heal my body? Most people use their superpower against themselves. They are reactive observers. They look at their bank account, see a red number, get scared, and focus all their mental and emotional attention on the lack of money. By doing this, they are collapsing the wave of poverty over and over again, 1,000 times per second. They are refreshing the page of the reality browser and loading the same error image. Then they say, "But it is reality, I have to worry." And quantum physics answers, "It is reality because you worry. If you stopped observing it with that intensity, it would stop being that reality." To hack the system, you have to become a proactive observer. You have to learn 2 master skills: the art of inattention, dissolving the problem; the art of sustained focus, materializing the solution. 1. The art of inattention, removing the glue. If attention is the glue that keeps the atoms of your problem together, the logical solution to destroy a problem is to stop looking at it. I know what you are thinking. That's irresponsible. If I ignore my debt, I will be seized. If I ignore my pain, it will get worse. Be careful. I am not saying to ignore the necessary physical action. If you have to pay, pay. If you have to go to the doctor, go. I am saying to ignore the emotional and obsessive mental reaction. The problem is not the paper bill. The problem is the 15 hours a day you spend ruminating about the bill, imagining catastrophic scenarios, feeling the knot in your stomach, and talking about it with your friends. That obsessive attention is what is feeding the beast. You are injecting gigawatts of psychic energy into the structure of the debt. You are making it more solid, heavier, more real. The quantum master practices selective invisibility. They do what they have to do in the physical world, pay, but they withdraw their consciousness from the problem. They take away its food. When the thought of worry comes, they say, "No, I am not going to observe this. I am not going to collapse this wave of fear. I withdraw my attention." And they change the channel. At first, the problem seems to shout louder to regain your attention, like a spoiled child. But if you persist in your vibrational indifference, the problem begins to fade. Unexpected solutions arise. The debt is cancelled, or money appears, or you are given an extension. Why? Because by stopping observing it as a solid block, you allowed it to return to being a flexible wave. And in the world of waves, there are infinite solutions. Exercise the attention fast. Choose a recurring problem in your life, not the most serious one to start, a medium one. For 7 days, take a mental vow of silence on that topic. Do not talk about it with anyone. Do not think about it. If the thought arises, immediately divert it to something else. Do not complain. Treat it as if it did not exist vibratorily. Do the bare minimum physical necessity to manage it, and then forget about it. Observe what happens at the end of the week. You will be surprised to see how the situation softens or resolves itself. You have taken away its fuel. 2. The art of sustained focus, the laser beam. Now that we have withdrawn energy from what we don't want, we have a huge amount of free energy, what you previously spent worrying. What do we do with it? We use it to collapse the wave of what we do want. But here is a trick. The observer effect requires sustainability. In the double-slit experiment, the electron changes while it is observed. If you turn off the camera, it goes back to being a wave. To materialize a dream, a new car, a partner, health, it is not enough to visualize it for 5 minutes in the morning and then forget about it. You have to maintain the observation of that new reality long enough for the atoms to reorganize and freeze into that new form. This doesn't mean being closed-eyed imagining a Ferrari for 24 hours. It means maintaining the certainty of existence. It means walking the world knowing that your desire is already real in the quantum field and that your constant observation, your faith, is bringing it into the physical world. Neville Goddard called it living in the end. It is observing your life as if the desire were already here. If you want to be rich, observe the world with the eyes of the rich. A rich person does not look at prices with fear, observation of lack. A rich person looks at quality or beauty, observation of abundance. Even if you don't buy anything, if you look at the window display and think, how beautiful, I like it, instead of how expensive, I can't afford it, you are changing your observation. You are collapsing the wave of prosperity. The 51% rule. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be focused 100% of the time. Physics tells us that for a system to change state, from ice to water, from poor to rich, you need to reach a critical mass. That critical mass is 51%. If you spend 51% of your time observing the solution, feeling good, confident, grateful, and 49% observing the problem, fear, doubt, you win. The scales tip. Reality collapses in your favor. The problem is that most people spend 90% observing the problem and 10% dreaming the solution. That's why they don't manifest. Your job is to tip the scales. Every time you withdraw your gaze from the disaster and put it on hope, you add a point. Every time you stop complaining and give thanks, you add a point. It is a war of attrition. It is a war of focus. The difference between observing and looking. A final key distinction. Anyone can look at a Ferrari. That is passive vision. Quantically observing implies intention plus emotion. To collapse the wave, you have to look with intention. You have to look with hunger, with possession, with recognition. You have to look at your future not as a distant fantasy, but as a memory that has not yet passed. The quantum observer does not say, I wish that were mine. They say, that is mine. I am seeing it. I am validating it. I am making it real with my consciousness. That authority is what commands the subatomic particles to stop playing waves and line up to build your empire. Chapter summary. The observer effect. Reality is a wave of possibilities until you look at it. Your gaze turns it into a particle, solid fact. You are the collapser. Your attention is the mechanism that chooses which version of the multiverse you experience. Inattention. To destroy a problem, stop observing it. Remove your emotional energy, let it starve vibratorily. Focus. To create a solution, observe it with certainty and constancy. Keep your gaze fixed on the final result until the universe has no choice but to show it to you. Chapter 3. The Zero-Point Field, the Divine Matrix. The Library of Babel where everything has already happened. Welcome to the Infinite Warehouse. In the previous chapters, we dismantled the solidity of matter and discovered that your attention is the laser that converts the wave into a particle. But this raises a fundamental logistical question. If I can materialize a new car or perfect health or an ideal partner with my observation, where do these things come from? Do I have to create them atom by atom with my mind? Do I have to be a cosmic engineer who designs every detail from nothing? If so, it would be exhausting and probably impossible for a limited human mind. The good news is, you don't have to create anything, because everything is already created. There is an energy field that underlies all physical reality. Physicists call it the zero-point field, ZPF. In this field, space is not empty. It is boiling with energy. It is estimated that in a single cubic centimeter of empty space, there is more energy than in all the matter of the visible universe. But the most important thing is not the energy, it is the information. The zero-point field is like an infinite holographic library that contains the record of everything that has happened, everything that is happening, and crucially, everything that could happen. It is the archive of all quantum possibilities. Imagine you walk into a gigantic infinite clothing store. There are millions of suits hanging on the racks. There is a beggar suit. There is an astronaut suit. There is a millionaire suit. There is a sick person suit. You don't have to sew the suit. The suit already exists. It is there, hanging complete with all its buttons and seams. Your only job is to walk into the store, find the suit you want and put it on. The zero-point field works the same way. In this precise instant, on a frequency that your eyes do not see yet, there is a version of you who has already overcome that problem that keeps you awake at night. That version of you already exists. It is not a fantasy. It is a real and complete energetic structure in the field. It has thoughts, it has emotions, it has an associated physical reality. It is floating in the ether, waiting for someone to activate it, put it on. This radically changes the concept of manifesting. Manifesting is not manufacturing. Manifesting is tuning. You do not have to invent the solution to your problem. The solution already exists in the field. Your job is to find the frequency of that solution and couple yourself to it. Ancient mystics called this place the Akashic Records, or the Mind of God. Greg Braden calls it the Divine Matrix. Quantum physics calls it the Implicate Order. David Bohm. The name doesn't matter. The mechanics are important. Everything you can desire is already a fact in the invisible realm. If you can imagine it, it is because it exists. You cannot imagine a color that does not exist. You cannot imagine a reality that is not contained in the field. The mere fact that you have the desire to be financially free is proof that financial freedom is an available option on the field's menu. Desire is the notification that the package is ready for pickup. The problem is that most of us live disconnected from the field. We live confined within the small bubble of our five senses. We believe that only what we see exists. We believe that the suit we are wearing now, our current identity, our current problems, is the only suit there is and that it is stuck to our skin. We have forgotten that we can change clothes. The zero-point field is an ocean of standing waves. It is a place of pure potentiality. There, time is not linear, past, present, future. Everything is an eternal now. This means that your future self is not tomorrow. It is here, superimposed on your present self, but on a different frequency. It's like radio waves. In the room you are in now, the rock station, the classical station, and the news station waves are all passing through. They all occupy the same space. They don't clash. You are tuned to problem radio. But solution radio is playing in the same place right now. Access to the zero-point field requires a key. That key is not logical thought, the brain. The brain is too slow and limited to process the infinite. The key is the heart and pure consciousness. To enter the library, you have to leave your ID card at the door. You have to stop being Juan, the accountant with debts, to become pure consciousness. Only when you disidentify from your current reality are you free to access the other available realities. In this first part, I want you to feel the relief of this truth. The pressure is off. You don't have to know how to heal yourself. You don't have to know how to make the €1,000,000. The how is already solved in the field. The field contains the root, the means, the coincidences, and the necessary people. The how is the field's problem. Your only problem is the what, want selection, and the who, identity. Stop trying to build the building brick by brick with your limited human effort. The building is already built on the invisible plane. Learn to materialize it. Learn to download it from the cloud to your hard drive. In the second part of this chapter, I will teach you how to enter the field. I will teach you how to step outside yourself to navigate the menu of infinite options and how to click on the reality you want to bring it into the 3D experience. The quantum download from the cloud to the earth. We already know that a warehouse exists where your ideal life is stored. Now the practical question, how do I get in there and take what is mine? To connect with the zero-point field, you have to overcome the biggest obstacle of all, your senses and your body. Your body and senses are designed to anchor you to the current 3D reality. They constantly tell you, you are here, this hurts, it is cold, you are hungry. They keep you tied to the old suit. To try on the new suit, you first have to take off the old one. You have to strip away your current reality. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this process becoming nobody, nothing, no time. You have to disconnect your attention from your body, your environment, and your linear time. You have to become pure consciousness floating in the black void. Only in that void, where you are nobody, are you free to become anyone. Here is the protocol for accessing the divine matrix and making the selection. Step 1. Sensory disconnection, turning off the noise. You cannot connect with the subtle field if you are bombarded by the world's noise. Find a dark, quiet place. Close your eyes. Darkness is a friend of the pineal gland. It helps produce melatonin, which is then transformed into psychoactive metabolites that allow inner vision. Start breathing slowly. Your goal is to stop feeling your body. You want to reach that state, similar to when you are about to fall asleep, where you lose the notion of where your hands end and where the air begins. You want to dissolve. If a thought of, "I have to pay the electricity bill" comes, observe it and let it go. Do not get hooked. Return to the void. Step 2. Entering the field, the fertile void. Visualize that you are floating in an infinite black space. There is no floor, no ceiling, no walls. It is a comfortable, warm, and magnetic void. It is the womb of the universe. Feel the immensity. Feel the silence. In this place you have no name, you have no age, you have no illnesses, you have no debts. You are just a point of conscious light. Enjoy the freedom of not being you. It is the greatest rest that exists. Step 3. The wave selection, the menu. Now, from this state of pure consciousness, remember that all possibilities float in this black void, like invisible bubbles. Invoke the possibility you want to live. Do not ask for it with words. Bring it as an energetic signature. How does the abundant version of you feel? Bring that frequency to the center of your chest. Do not try to see the details, the color of the car, the partner's face. That is the work of the limited mind. Feel the essence. Feel freedom. Feel euphoria. Feel gratitude. The moment you feel the elevated emotion of that future reality, you have connected with it. You have tuned the dial. You have found the suit in the warehouse. Step 4. The collapse. The fusion. Now that you have the signal, you have to anchor it. Visualize that reality, that cloud of energy, approaches you and merges with your point of consciousness. It envelops you. Feel how your energy changes. Your electromagnetic signature is rewritten. You are no longer the consciousness that was searching. Now you are the consciousness that has. Bathe in that feeling. Feel the deep gratitude. Thank you, because it is already done. Gratitude is the glue that fixes the wave into reality. It confirms that the transaction is complete. Step 5. The return, the update. When you open your eyes and return to your physical body, you will feel that something is different. The 3D world will look the same, but you are not. You have downloaded new software. You have brought a piece of the 0-point field and installed it in your biology. Your cells are now vibrating with the information of the future, not the past. The post-meditation challenge. The real work begins when you get up from the chair. You just put on the millionaire suit, energetically, in the meditation. But now you go out, see a bill, and your automatic reaction is to feel fear. If you feel fear, you just took off the new suit and put the old suit of poor back on. You have undone the work. You have disconnected the download. The quantum master is the one who is capable of maintaining the feeling of the field, the new suit, with their eyes open. It is walking through the 3D world, constantly reminding yourself, what I see is the past. My truth is what I felt in the field. I am still wearing the suit, even if no one else can see it yet. Every time you maintain the frequency of the future in the face of the evidence of the past, you accelerate materialization. You are dragging the 0-point field into matter. You are condensing the vapor into ice. The sign that you have connected. How do you know if you have done it right? By synchronicity. When you touch the 0-point field, the physical world reacts. Strange things start happening. Unexpected calls, fortuitous encounters, repeated numbers, opportunities that fall from the sky. It is the divine matrix responding to your new instruction. The field is rearranging the chess pieces so that the game matches your vision. Do not try to control how it will arrive. The field has infinite intelligence. It knows paths that you cannot even imagine. If you try to control the how, e.g., I want money and it has to come from the lottery, you are limiting the field. You're closing millions of doors to leave only one open. Let the field decide the how. You maintain the what, the essence, and the who, your identity. Chapter summary. Everything already exists. You don't create, you select. The future is a memory you haven't had yet. The 0-point field. It is the archive of all possibilities. It is accessible here and now. Disconnect to connect. You have to stop being you, body-ego, to enter the realm of possibilities. Feel to select. Emotion is the cursor you use to click on the desired reality. Maintain the charge. Don't let 3D reality take the new suit off you. Chapter 4. Tuning the dial, frequency and resonance. The human tuning fork, The law of sympathetic vibration. We have learned that the zero-point field contains all possible realities and that your attention collapses, one of those possibilities, into matter. But a crucial technical detail remains, often overlooked, which is the main cause of frustration in manifestation. You cannot collapse a wave with which you are not in resonance. Imagine you are in a room full of acoustic guitars. You have a tuning fork in your hand calibrated to the note A, 440 Hz. You strike the tuning fork. It begins to vibrate and emit a pure sound. What happens in the room? Automatically, without touching anything, all the A strings on the guitars will start to vibrate on their own. They will begin to sound. But the strings tuned to E or G will remain in absolute silence. They won't move an inch. This is called sympathetic resonance. It is a physical law, not a mystical theory. Energy transfers efficiently only between systems that vibrate at the same frequency. If the frequencies do not match, the energy passes by without affecting them. You are a living tuning fork. Every thought you have, every emotion you feel, emits a specific electromagnetic signal. You are transmitting 24 hours a day. The universe, the quantum field, is the room full of guitars. It contains the string of wealth, the string of poverty, the string of health, the string of illness. If you strike your internal tuning fork with the emotion of fear or lack, that signal travels through the field. It passes by the wealth string, because wealth vibrates in security, freedom, a very different frequency. Wealth does not hear you. It cannot respond to you. However, your signal of fear hits the crisis string in the field. And by sympathetic resonance, crisis begins to vibrate in your external reality. It begins to approach. It materializes. Here is the brutal truth. The universe doesn't give you what you want. The universe gives you what you are vibratorily. It doesn't matter how much you want money. Wanting implies not having. The vibration of wanting is lack. If you emit lack, you can only make the strings of lack vibrate. It is mechanically impossible to tune into abundance from need, just as it is impossible to pick up an FM station with an AM radio. They are different bands. They do not touch. Many students of metaphysics get stuck here. They wake up in the morning and do positive affirmations. I am rich, I am rich, I am rich. Electrical signal of thought. But inside, in their gut, they feel a knot of anxiety about bills. They feel insecurity. Magnetic signal of emotion. Which signal wins? The emotion always wins. The heart is magnetically 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. So even though they say, I am rich, they are emitting, I am afraid. And the universe responds to fear by bringing more reasons to fear. To collapse the wave of the reality you desire, you have to master the art of coherence. You have to manage to align what you think and what you feel to the same note. When your mind, intention, and your heart, emotion, play the same note, your signal becomes a laser beam. It becomes powerful. It cuts through the static noise and hits the correct string in the field. But there is another physical concept we must understand: hysteresis, or the memory of the material. Your body is matter, and matter has memory. You have spent years, perhaps decades, vibrating your tuning fork to the note of complaint, victimhood, or worry. Your cells have become accustomed to that vibration. Your body has become addicted to the stress chemicals that vibration produces. If today you decide to change and vibrate in gratitude, your body will resist. It will feel strange. It will tell you, this is not normal, let's go back to anxiety, which is what we know. Tuning the dial is not something you do once and it's done. It is a struggle against the inertia of your own biological past. The old tuning fork wants to keep sounding. Your job as a quantum master is to stop the old vibration, stop reacting to problems, and strike the new tuning fork, feel the solution over and over, until the new note becomes your natural sound. In this first part, I want you to realize that you are not a victim of bad luck. You are a victim of your own unconscious transmission. Look at your life right now. Look at your relationships, your money, your health. Do not judge what you see. Simply accept it as scientific data. This is what I am resonating. Your reality is the monitor that shows you what frequency you are emitting. If you don't like the music, stop shouting at the radio. Stop trying to change the outside world. You have to go to the transmitter. You have to change the note of the tuning fork. In the second part of this chapter, I will teach you how this is done technically. It is not enough to think nicely. You need an internal technology. We will talk about the secret formula for manifestation, clear intention, plus elevated emotion. I will teach you how to use your heart as an amplifier to hack the electromagnetic field and attract the future toward you, instead of you dragging yourself toward the future. The heart is amplifier, the creation formula. We have already understood that we are tuning forks and that like attracts like. Now let's enter the control cabin. How do we change the emission frequency deliberately and powerfully? To tune into a new reality, you need to combine two ingredients that people usually keep separate. The formula for quantum creation is electrical intention, brain, plus magnetic charge, heart, electromagnetic signature. Let's break this down. 1. Electrical intention, the brain thought. Thought is the signal that sends information to the universe. It is the what. When you think, I want a new car or I want to be healed, you are sending an electrical wave to the field. It is like typing the address into the GPS. You tell the field where you want to go, but a thought without emotion is like a car without gas. It has direction, but it has no engine. It does not move. It is a weak signal that gets lost in the background noise. 2. Magnetic charge, the heart emotion. Emotion is what attracts the event to you. It is the engine. The heart generates the largest magnetic field in the human body. It can be measured meters away. When you feel an elevated emotion, love, gratitude, euphoria, freedom, your magnetic field expands. It turns into a giant magnet. Emotion is the energy that grabs the intention and brings it to physical reality. Here is the problem. Most people try to create from incoherence. They think about wealth, intention, but they feel fear of poverty, emotion. The electrical signal says, come, but the magnetic signal says it is not safe. The result is static. The field does not respond. Or it responds to fear, which is the stronger signal. The heart coherence technique. To hack this, we have to learn to generate the emotion of the future before the event occurs. We normally live in a Newtonian cause and effect model. I will wait until I have the money to feel abundant. I will wait until my partner arrives to feel love. That is living as a victim of the environment. If the environment doesn't change, you don't change. The quantum creator does it in reverse. I will feel abundant now, and that signal will force the money to come. Internal cause, external effect. How do you do this if your current reality is a disaster? How do you feel gratitude if you are suffering? Here is the step-by-step protocol for tuning the dial. Step 1. Disconnect, turn off the noise. Close your eyes. Eliminate visual stimuli. Play soft music if it helps. Move your attention from outside to inside. Forget your body. Forget your environment. Forget time. Become pure consciousness. Step 2. Heart breathing. Activate the center. Place your hand over the center of your chest. Where you touch, your attention goes. Where your attention goes, your energy goes. Start breathing slower and deeper than normal. Imagine that the air enters and exits directly through your heart. This calms your nervous system and tells your reptilian brain, we are safe, there are no tigers. You can stop surviving and start creating. Step 3. The mental movie, the intention. Now with the system calm, project the scene of what you want to live onto your mental screen. Be specific. What are you doing? Who are you with? Do not see it as a static photo. Watch a moving film. That is your clear intention. Step 4. Emotional alchemy, the magnet. Here comes the key. While watching that scene, how do you feel? Do not think about it intellectually. Feel it viscerally. If you were cured right now, how would you feel? Relief, euphoria, tears of joy, passion for life. Invoke that emotion. At first you might have to fake it a little like an actor. But if you stay focused on the image, the emotion will arise. Turn up the volume of that emotion. Let gratitude fill your chest. Let it give you goosebumps. In this moment, your body does not know the difference between the real and the imagined experience. For your body, it is already happening. You are emitting the electromagnetic signature of wish fulfilled. Step 5. The transmission, the broadcast. Sustain that state. Intention. plus emotion. Visualize how that energy leaves your heart as an expansive wave, traveling toward the quantum field, seeking its match. Feel how you connect with that future reality. And then, release it. Hand it over to the field. Feel the certainty that the order has been sent. The challenge of permanence. Doing this for 10 minutes in a meditation is easy. The real challenge, where mastery is won, is maintaining that tuning when you open your eyes. If you get up from meditation feeling like a millionaire, and 5 minutes later you see a bill and you collapse into fear, you have broken the tuning. You have changed the dial back to static. Your job is to maintain the resonance throughout the day. When you feel stress returning, stop. Remember the tuning fork. Tell yourself, if I lower my vibration, I disconnect from my future. Go back to the heart. Breathe. Recover the feeling of gratitude, even if just a little. Tune the station again. The longer you spend vibrating at the frequency of your future, the faster the wave will collapse. It is not about hours of meditation. It is about the frequency of connection. It is better to connect 10 times a day for 1 minute, to remember who you are, than to meditate for an hour and then forget the rest of the day. You are training your being to live on a new timeline. You are emotionally teaching your body what success feels like before success arrives. And when your body and mind vibrate as if it has already happened, quantum physics has no other choice. It has to happen. It is the law. Chapter summary. Sympathetic resonance. You only attract what vibrates the same as you. Fear attracts reasons to fear. Gratitude attracts reasons to give thanks. The heart is the key. Thought directs, emotion attracts. Without elevated emotion, there is no magnetic signal. The body is the unconscious. You have to convince your body through feeling that the event has already happened. Coherence. When mind and heart align, your wave collapse power multiplies exponentially. Chapter 5. Quantum Entanglement, Invisible Connections. Spooky Action. The End of Cosmic Loneliness. If Chapter 2, Observer Effect, gave you the power to create, this chapter will give you the power to connect. Until now, you might still have an underlying feeling of loneliness. You might think, okay, I'm a powerful creator, but I'm here alone, in my room, and what I want, money, person, opportunity, is far away, separated from me by miles of distance and concrete walls. Classical Newtonian physics tells us that for object A to affect object B, they must touch, or there must be a visible force traveling between them. It tells us that separation is real, but quantum physics, once again, tells us that our eyes deceive us. In 1935, Albert Einstein, along with colleagues Podolsky and Rosen, came across a mathematical consequence of quantum theory that seemed so absurd to him that he thought it was an error. He called it, with some disdain, spooky action at a distance. He could not believe it was real. But decades of subsequent experiments and the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics have confirmed that Einstein was wrong in his skepticism. The phenomenon is real. It is called quantum entanglement. It works like this. You take two subatomic particles, say 2 electrons, and make them physically interact so that their states link up. They become entangled. Then you separate them. You take one particle to the North Pole and the other to the South Pole. Or better yet, you take one to Earth and the other to a galaxy millions of light years away. Now you do something to particle A. For example, you change its spin so it points up. What happens to particle B? Instantly, at the exact moment you modify A, particle B changes its spin to point down, the complementary opposite. There is no delay. No time passes. The information travels faster than the speed of light, which is impossible in classical physics. It is as if the two particles, despite being separated by galaxies of distance, still know what the other is doing. As if they were joined by an invisible, unbreakable thread that ignores space and time, physicists reached an astonishing conclusion. At the quantum level, separation does not exist. The two particles are not sending messages. They are, fundamentally, the same thing occupying two different places. Now, let's apply this to your life. Where do you come from? According to the Big Bang Theory, about 13.8 billion years ago, all matter, all energy, and all space in the universe were concentrated in a single infinitesimal point. A singularity, you, me, the money you want, your dream house, your soulmate, and the tree in your garden. Everything was together, everything was one. We were entangled at the origin. If the entanglement theory is correct, and it is, that means that even though the universe has expanded and cooled, every particle that exists is still energetically connected to every other particle. Physical separation is an optical illusion. At the energetic level, you have never been separated from anything or anyone. This radically changes your manifestation strategy. You no longer have to go out and look for anything. The concept of searching implies that the object is lost or far away. But if you are quantumly entangled with your desire, you don't have to go looking for it. You just have to pull the thread, you just have to activate the connection that already exists. Imagine an immense network of invisible golden threads extending from your heart and connecting you to every person and every opportunity on the planet. Most of those threads are asleep or inactive. But when you put your intention and your emotion, as we learned in the previous chapter, onto a specific person or situation, you are sending an electrical pulse through that specific thread. You are shaking the rope. And on the other side of the rope, instantly the other party feels the tug. This explains the inexplicable coincidences. You think of someone with emotional intensity, and they call you. You need a book, and you find it on the subway. You have a business idea, and you meet the perfect partner in the movie line. It's not magic. It's entanglement activation. You modified your internal state, spin up, and the corresponding part of the universe had to modify itself to complement your state, spin down. Understanding this eliminates existential loneliness. You are never alone. It is physically impossible to be alone in an entangled universe. You are in constant silent communion with everything that exists. When you feel sad, that sadness ripples through the network and affects the whole. When you empower yourself, your strength pulls the threads and lifts the whole. This gives you tremendous responsibility, but also infinite power. It means you can influence your reality at a distance without the need for direct physical action. It means you can call opportunities without picking up the phone. It means you can heal relationships without talking. But here arises the ethical and practical question: can I influence another person with my mind? Can I make someone love me or my boss promote me just by thinking it? The answer is yes, but with important nuances. You cannot manipulate free will, because that would generate resistance and break the entanglement, but you can offer a resonance so irresistible that the other party chooses to align with you. In the second part of this chapter, we will explore the mechanics of emotional telepathy and non-local influence. I will teach you techniques to clean the threads that bind you to others, especially the toxic ones, and how to activate the golden threads that bring you what you desire. You will learn to operate the cosmic Wi-Fi network. The cosmic Wi-Fi network, operating the non-local connection. We already know that we are connected by invisible cables to everything that was once part of the One, i.e., everything. Now, how do we use this network to download the reality we want? We are going to talk about the non-locality of the mind. Your mind is not inside your brain. Your brain is the hardware, the receiver, but your mind is the signal, the software in the cloud. Your mind is a field that extends beyond your skull, and that field interacts with the fields of other minds. When you want to attract a specific person, a partner, a client, a partner, you do not need to manipulate them physically. You do not need to chase them, send them 20 emails, or try to convince them with logic. That is operating in the world of matter, slow and with friction. You can operate in the world of entanglement. Here is the key principle. Attention is the channel. Intention is the information. When you put your attention on someone, you open the direct channel with them. You establish the quantum link. But what information are you sending through that channel? Most people, when they want to attract someone, send information of need and control. They think, "Why don't you call me? I need you. I want you to do what I say." That signal travels through the invisible thread, and the other person at a subconscious level receives it. What does the other person feel? They feel pressure. They feel overwhelmed. They feel that someone wants to steal their energy. and their instinctive reaction is to move away. You think you are not doing anything wrong, just thinking about them, but you are psychically shouting at them. You are pushing. To use entanglement to your advantage, you have to change the signal. You have to send a signal of invitation and unconditional love. Technique 1, the golden thread, relationship healing. If you have a conflict with someone, boss, partner, family member, and physical communication is broken or difficult, use entanglement. In your meditation, visualize that person in front of you. Visualize a thread of golden light connecting your heart to theirs. Instead of asking them to change or reproaching them, simply send them appreciation. Look for something, anything you like about them. Thank you for being my teacher. I respect you. I wish you peace. Feel how that energy travels through the thread and fills their heart. Let go. Cut the vision and return to your life. Do this for 3 or 4 days. You will be surprised by what happens. Often the person calls you out of the blue, or if you run into them, their attitude has completely changed. They are no longer defensive. Why? Because at a quantum level, they have received your peace offering. Their nervous system has relaxed even before seeing you. You have changed the dynamic without saying a word. Technique 2, the quantum call, attracting opportunities. If you are looking for a job or clients or a partner, but you don't have a specific face in mind, you can use entanglement to turn on the lighthouse. Enter a state of coherence, mind and heart aligned. Launch an I'm ready signal. Feel the emotion of working on your passion or being in a partnership. Visualize that emotion as a light that leaves you and expands in concentric spheres until it covers the entire planet. Mentally say, whoever is looking for me, I am here. I am ready. I recognize you and I invite you. Trust that the threads are moving. You are activating the network. There are people in the world who are looking for exactly what you offer. They are also emitting a search signal. When your offer signal and their demand signal cross in the field, a lock-in occurs, engagement. Entanglement is activated. From that moment on, synchronicity takes over. You will meet. It is inevitable. It is like 2 magnets that have detected each other. It is only a matter of time before they collide. The mastermind concept, collective mind. This also explains why surrounding yourself with people who vibrate high is so powerful. When a group of people is entangled with the same intention, the power does not add up. It multiplies exponentially. Jesus said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am." Scientifically, when 2 or more observers collapse the same wave together, the gravity of that wave becomes massive. If you have a dream, share it with someone who believes in you. Entangle your vision with theirs. Let their faith sustain your vision when you doubt. Creating a mastermind is hacking the entanglement to accelerate results. Ethical warning, quantum karma. Entanglement is a 2-way street. What you send comes back, instantly, because remember, there is no separation. The other person is you at another point in space. If you send hate, envy, or ill will to someone, you are sending it to yourself through the thread. You are poisoning yourself. Before the poison reaches the other, it has to pass through your system. That is why resentment is so harmful. It is drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Entanglement demands impeccable mental hygiene. You cannot afford the luxury of hating anyone because your connection to them is real. The only selfish and intelligent way to live is by blessing everyone, even your enemies, because by doing so, you are blessing yourself and cleaning your own network. Chapter summary. Separation does not exist. Everything was united in the Big Bang and remains energetically connected. Action at a distance. You can influence reality and people without physical contact, through intention and emotion. Pull the thread. Don't search, activate the link that already exists. Connection hygiene. What you send through the link returns to you. Send only what you want to receive. Chapter 6, Timeline Jumps, the Multiverse. The multiverse in your pocket. Everything exists here and now. Welcome to the edge of the rabbit hole. Up to this point, we have assumed that you live on a single timeline. We have assumed you have a fixed past, a real present, and a future to build. We talked about planting seeds and waiting for them to grow. It is a useful metaphor, but it is still a slow metaphor. It is still bound by Newtonian laws and linearity. What if I told you that you don't have to wait for the seed to grow? What if I told you that a greenhouse exists right next to this one, where the tree is already mature and bearing fruit right now? And what if I told you that you don't have to build that greenhouse but simply walk into it? Welcome to the physics of the multiverse, the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, proposed by Hugh Everett in the 50s, suggests something that sounds like science fiction but is mathematically plausible and accepted by much of the modern physics community. All possibilities exist simultaneously. Every time you make a decision, the universe bifurcates. There is a version of you who got up early today and one who stayed asleep. There is a version of you who accepted that job 10 years ago and another who rejected it. There is a version of you who is a multimillionaire, one who is a beggar, one who is an artist, one who is sick, one who is radiant with health, one who is... All these versions are not imaginations or fantasies. They are physical, tangible, solid realities that are happening right now on parallel frequencies. They are all here, superimposed upon each other, like radio waves in a room or the layers of a holographic onion. Imagine you are in your car listening to the radio. You are tuning to 90.5 FM, your current life, scarcity, problems. The music playing is sad, slow, and repetitive. Does that mean that 105.0 FM, your desired life, success, love, does not exist? Of course, it exists. It is playing right now in the same physical space you are in. It is bouncing against your antenna. Happy, vibrant music is playing on it. But you don't hear it. For you, in your sensory experience, it is not real. Why? Because your receiver is not tuned to it. You don't have to create the 105.0 station. You don't have to call the radio station and ask them to record happy music for you. The music is already recorded, broadcast, and available. Your only job is to turn the dial. This is quantum jumping. It's not about changing who you are, it's about changing where you are on the frequency spectrum. It's about stopping identifying with the version of you who has problems and starting to tune into the version of you who already has the solutions. This eliminates the brutal pressure of traditional manifestation. Many students of metaphysics exhaust themselves trying to create wealth. They feel they have to build an empire brick by brick, fighting against the current. The quantum jumper knows that the empire is already built on an adjacent timeline. Their job is not to lay bricks. Their job is to find the entrance door to that reality and cross the threshold. Time is not a straight line going from past to future. Time is an eternal now. To visualize this, imagine an infinite building. Every floor is a different reality. Your consciousness is the elevator. Right now, your elevator is stopped on floor 3, your current reality. The doors are open. You see what's in the hallway, your old furniture, your bank account in the red, your tired body. You look at that and say, this is the truth, this is my reality. But if you pressed the button for floor 50, the doors would close, you would feel a movement in your stomach, and when they opened, you would see a totally different hallway. Luxury decor, incredible views, people smiling, your healthy body. Did you just create floor 50? No. Floor 50 was there all the time waiting for you to go up. It was happening while you were lamenting on floor 3. The problem is that you have fallen in love with floor 3, or rather, you have become obsessed with it. You spend the day describing floor 3. Look how old the paint is on floor 3. Look how broken the windows are. How unfair it is to live on floor 3. By keeping your attention, your flashlight, as we saw in Chapter 1 on the details of floor 3, you keep the elevator doors open on that floor. You block the ascent mechanism. For quantum physics, observing is anchoring. As long as you observe your current reality with emotional charge, you remain stuck to it. To jump timelines, you have to do something radical. You have to be unfaithful to your current reality. You have to stop being loyal to your problems. You have to ignore the evidence of your senses, which only see floor 3, and start living sensuously on floor 50 before the doors open there. This is where the concept of your quantum self comes in. Your quantum self is that version of you who already succeeded. It is not a future you, because the future does not exist. It is a parallel you. That person has your face, your name, and your DNA. But they have a different posture, they have a different gaze, they breathe differently. They react differently to problems. That version of you doesn't have money anxiety because they have plenty. That version of you isn't jealous because they feel secure. That version of you isn't afraid of illness because they vibrate in vital health. Quantum jumping is not magic. It is energetic modeling. If you want to go to floor 50, you have to start emitting the frequency of floor 50 while you are still physically on floor 3. You have to download the software of your quantum self and install it on your current hardware. How does your rich self think? What time do they wake up? What do they eat for breakfast? How do they treat waiters? What kind of books do they read? How do they walk down the street? In a rush and fear or with calm and authority? The moment you start acting, thinking, and feeling like your quantum self, the universe gets confused, in a good way. The system detects an anomaly. It says, wait a moment, this person is emitting the signal of floor 50, but their physical environment is floor 3. There is a discrepancy, system error. And to correct the error and re-establish balance, the universe, the mirror effect, starts violently moving physical reality to match your new signal. It drags you toward the new timeline. People who experience these jumps often report dizzying and sometimes chaotic changes. Suddenly they lose their job. The floor 3 job doesn't exist on floor 50, so it must disappear. Suddenly, their partner leaves them or the relationship transforms radically. The toxic dynamic doesn't exist on floor 50. And very quickly, new opportunities that seem miraculous appear. In reality, they are not miracles. You simply changed the channel. You stopped watching the horror movie and put on the adventure movie. But there is a vital warning before I teach you the technique. You cannot take your old baggage to the new timeline. You cannot go up to floor 50 carrying the suitcases of victimhood, guilt, resentment, and complaint from floor 3. They won't fit in the elevator. They are too dense, they cannot exist at that altitude. To jump, you have to be willing to metaphorically die. You have to be willing to let go of the person you are now with all their sad stories and justifications to become the person you want to be. Many people say, I want to change, but what they really want is for their life to get better without them having to change. They want to take their old habits and old complaints to paradise. That is vibratorily impossible. The price of the ticket to the new world is your old self. If you are ready to shed your old skin, if you are ready to fuse with your higher version and abandon the poor me story, then you are ready for the technique. In the second part, I will guide you through an active meditation and a mental technique to find your quantum self, talk to them, and most importantly, fuse with them to bring their energy here. The fusion downloading the higher avatar. We have understood the theory. Infinite versions of you exist and you can choose which one to embody. Now we are going to leave the intellectualization and we are going to do it. We are going to jump. The exercise I am going to teach you is a mixture of active visualization, applied quantum physics, and neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. It is known as the quantum double technique. The goal is not just to see your other self as if it were a movie, but to become them viscerally. Preparation. You need a quiet space where no one will bother you for 15-20 minutes. You can do it sitting or lying down, but with your spine straight so that the energy flows. Close your eyes. Take 3 heart coherence breaths, as we learned in Chapter 4, to calm the mental noise and activate your heart's Wi-Fi. Step 1. The hallway of doors, the multiverse. Visualize that you are in a white, infinite, luminous, and pristine hallway. To your left and right are thousands of doors. The hallway extends eternally in both directions. You know intuitively that behind each door is a different version of your life. A parallel universe. Some doors look dark, old, and dirty, worse timelines than the current one where you made worse decisions. Others look normal. Others shine with a golden magnetic light. You are walking through this hallway. Feel the floor under your bare feet. Listen to the echo of your steps. You are in the control center of your destiny. Step 2. Locating the golden door. Ask your intuition, your inner GPS, to guide you to the specific door where your realized self lives. That version of you who has already solved the problem that torments you today. If you are looking for health, look for the you who runs marathons, has radiant skin, and shines with vitality. If you are looking for money, look for the you who lives in total financial abundance, who is generous and calm. If you are looking for love, Look for the you who is happily partnered. You walk down the hallway and stop in front of a door. Notice the details. What material is it made of? Fine wood? Futuristic metal? Pure light? What does the plaque say? Feel the energy emanating from it. It is a high-frequency energy that attracts you. Step 3. The encounter. You open the door and enter. Visualize the setting. Where is your quantum self? In a house by the sea with large windows? In a bright office signing contracts? On a stage receiving applause? Walking through a forest in peace? And there you see them. You see yourself. But look closely. They are not exactly like you. Observe their posture. How are their shoulders, upright and relaxed? What is their smile like? Observe their aura. What does it transmit? Peace, power, security, light, joy? Your quantum self sees you enter and smiles. They are not surprised. They were waiting for you. They know what you are going through because they already went through it. Remember, it is a version that already overcame it. They look at you with infinite love and compassion. Step 4. The information exchange. You approach your quantum self. You sit facing each other or walk together, and you ask the key question. Do not ask for the result. Ask for the path. How did you do it? What was the step you took that changed everything? What did you stop doing? What did you start thinking? Listen. The answer may come in clear words, or it may come as a symbolic image, or simply as a sudden feeling of knowing. Perhaps they tell you, I stopped being afraid to lose. Perhaps they tell you, I called that person. Perhaps they tell you, I simply relaxed and stopped chasing it. Trust the first thing that comes to mind. That is your inner wisdom speaking from the possible future. Step 5. The fusion, the jump. This is the critical moment. This is where the wave collapse occurs. You stand up, and your quantum self stands up. You look into each other's eyes. You embrace each other. And in that embrace, visualize that you fuse with them. You enter their body. You put on their skin as if it were a tailor-made suit. You no longer see them from the outside. Now you look through their eyes. You feel their hands as if they were yours. And suddenly, you feel what they feel. Download their vibration. Feel the solidity of their bank account in your stomach, that feeling of total security. Feel the lightness of their health in your lungs. Feel the warmth of being loved in your heart. Breathe that new identity. Anchor it in your cells. Feel how your DNA responds to this new information. Notice how your physical physiology changes in the chair where you are sitting. Your back straightens on its own. Your face relaxes. You feel bigger, more expansive, more powerful. Stay there for a minute. Enjoy being him, her. Tell yourself, this is me. This has always been me. I have come home. Step 6. The return and anchoring. Now with that new energy vibrating in your body, visualize that you leave the room, return to the hallway, and return to your current physical body, bringing that feeling with you. You do not return the same. You have brought the software, you have brought the frequency. Open your eyes. The post-jump, the double agent. When you open your eyes, the physical world, floor 3, will still look the same. The same room, the same furniture, the same balance on your phone. But you are no longer the same. You have just stepped off the elevator from floor 50. You have seen the truth. Now you have to maintain that frequency in a low-frequency environment. This is where the double agent game comes in. Imagine you are a high-level secret spy. Your cover is your old self. You have to go to your boring job, talk to your family, pay your bills. You have to pretend. But inside, you know it's a cover. Inside, you know you are the millionaire, the healthy one, the successful one, on a temporary covert mission. You walk down the street with the secret in your pocket. You smile differently because you know something others don't. You know your reality is about to change to match your hidden identity. When a problem arises, an unexpected bill, an argument, immediately ask yourself, what would my quantum self do in this situation? Would they start crying? Would they scream? Would they feel like a victim? No. They would probably laugh, or they would solve it with calm and elegance, or they wouldn't give it importance because they know it's a small thing. The moment you react like your quantum self, you collapse that timeline into the present. Every time you choose the higher self's response instead of the automatic lower self's reaction, you make a jump. You are bringing the future into the now. The quantum imposter syndrome. At first, you will feel strange. You will feel fake. Your mind will tell you, "Who are you kidding? You are still broke. This is a fantasy." That voice is the immune system of your old reality trying to protect itself. It is the inertia of floor 3 trying to close the elevator doors. Don't argue with it. Simply smile and tell it, "Thank you for your opinion, but we have changed management. We now operate from floor 50. Remember, the jump is not a single-day event. It is a constant practice of tuning. It's like learning a new language. At first, you have to translate everything in your head. Then you start thinking and dreaming in the new language. A day will come when reacting with abundance and security is your automatic response. That day, the jump will have been completed. Floor 50 will have become your habitual residence. And the physical reality, which always arrives with a slight delay, as we saw in previous chapters, will have completely reorganized itself to reflect your new home. The sign that you have jumped. How do you know if it worked? Aside from the synchronicities, you will notice that the things that used to bother you no longer affect you. Your ex calls and you feel no pain, only indifference. A bill arrives and you feel no panic, only administrative neutrality. The drama of others seems like a boring movie you no longer want to watch. You have changed frequency, and therefore, low-frequency things can no longer touch you. You have become invisible to misfortune and magnetic to luck. You have learned to travel the multiverse. You have met your maximum potential. Now the challenge is to live there permanently. It's not about visiting success in meditation and then returning to complaining. It's about moving in. It's about burning the boats so you can't go back. But there is a final problem. Your rational mind is trapped in linear time. It believes that to get to the future, time must pass. What if I told you that time is another illusion? What if I told you that the future can affect the past? Chapter 7, The Paradox of Time, The Future is Now. Breaking the clock, the illusion of linearity. If I ask you what time is it, you will look at your watch or your phone and give me a number. You assume that number is a universal truth. You assume that time is a river flowing at a constant speed from the past, what has already been and cannot be changed, toward the future, what will be and does not yet exist, passing through the present. This linear view of time is very useful for catching a train or being on time for an appointment, but it is absolutely false at the fundamental level of reality. In the quantum world, time is not a line, it is a point, or rather, it is a unified field where everything happens at once. Einstein taught us that time is relative, that it depends on the observer's speed and gravity. If you traveled at the speed of light, time would stop. But quantum physics goes further and presents us with experiments that defy sanity, such as Wheeler's delayed choice experiment. Without getting into boring technicalities, this experiment demonstrated something impossible for the logical mind. A decision made in the present can change what happened in the past. In the experiment, the way an observer measures a particle now determines the path that particle took milliseconds ago, or millions of years ago when talking about starlight. That is, the future, the measurement, affected the past, the trajectory. This is called retrocausality. Why is this vital for you, who wants to manifest a better life? Because it means that your future self is not a distant fantasy. It is an active force that is influencing your present self right now. We tend to think that the past creates the future. Because I was poor as a child, cause, I am afraid of money now, effect. That is the victim model. The past is the executioner. But in the quantum model, the future also creates the present. Your successful, healthy, and happy version, which exists in the zero-point field, is sending waves backward in time. Those waves are your intuitions, your desires, your gut feelings. When you feel an ardent desire to do something, it is not just a whim. It is your future self calling you. It is the echo of a reality that has already happened in the quantum field and is pulling you toward it. The problem is that you live looking through the rearview mirror. You spend the day recalling the past. Yesterday they treated me badly. 10 years ago, I failed. I've always been this way. Your brain is a machine for archiving the past. Biologically, when you recall a traumatic or sad event, Your brain fires the same circuits, and your body releases the same chemicals as when the actual event occurred. For your body, the past is happening now. If you spend 16 hours a day thinking about the past, your problems, your old identity, you are anchoring your energy to a dead timeline. You are collapsing the wave of yesterday over and over again. You leave no room for the future to enter because your now is occupied by yesterday. To manifest, you have to learn to do something that sounds like science fiction. Remember the future. We normally remember the past and imagine the future. The past feels solid, real, emotional. The future feels volatile, blurry, mental. That's why the past wins. It has more emotional weight. The quantum master learns to give the future the same sensory and emotional weight as the past. They learn to visit their future in meditation with such intensity that, upon returning, their brain and body believe it has already happened. A memory of the future is created. If you manage to install a memory of the future in your neurology, the physical universe has no option. The universe does not distinguish between a real memory based on 3D facts and a created memory based on 5D visualization. If the electromagnetic signature is the same, the universe treats it as a fact, and it begins to move the pieces so that the external reality matches the internal memory. Linear time is a trap of perception. It makes us believe that we have to wait to be happy. I will be happy in 5 years when I pay off the mortgage. That is a lie. In the quantum field, the mortgage is already paid. That version of you already exists and is enjoying the freedom. The distance between you and that version is not time, years. It is frequency. If you can tune the frequency of that version now, you collapse time. You bring the future into the present. This is called temporal jumping. It is not movie magic, it is vibrational acceleration. When you raise your vibration, gratitude, love, euphoria, you move faster than matter. Matter is slow and dense, low vibration. Energy is fast, high vibration. The higher your vibration, the less time you need to manifest. In the state of maximum vibration, enlightenment or ecstasy, time disappears. Manifestation is instantaneous. When you are depressed, low vibration, time drags. A day feels like a century. In this first part, I want you to break your mental clock. Stop saying it's going to take me a long time to achieve this. That statement is an instruction you give the field. If you say a long time, the field says granted and creates delays. Start saying, time is an illusion, everything is here, I am one thought away. But to do this, you have to overcome your greatest enemy, your chemical addiction to the past. Your body is addicted to the emotions you felt yesterday. If yesterday you felt like a victim, your body today will ask for its dose of victimhood. It will provoke sad thoughts, so you give it the chemicals of sadness. Breaking linear time requires a biological detoxification. In the second part, I will teach you how to unhook yourself from your old self to let the new self take charge. I will teach you the remembering the future technique to wire your brain before the experience happens. Remembering tomorrow, installing the future software. We now understand that time is flexible and that the past keeps us trapped. Now the practice. How do I install a memory of something that hasn't happened? Dr. Joe Dispenza has studied this extensively with brain scans. When a person who plays the piano, certain areas of their brain light up. When that same person sits with their eyes closed and visualizes playing the piano without moving a finger, exactly the same areas light up. The brain does not know the difference, and if they practice mentally for a week, that person's physical fingers become more skilled, even though they haven't touched the keys. The body changes just because of the thought. This is self-directed neuroplasticity. You can change your brain and your body, your matter, before your environment changes. The process for remembering the future has 3 critical phases. 1. The scene construction, the script. You cannot remember something vague. Real memories are specific. You don't remember a summer. You remember the taste of the ice cream, the heat on your skin, the song that was playing. To create a future memory, you need sensory details. Choose a key moment that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Do not visualize the process, how you earn the money. Visualize the final result. Example, you are having dinner with your friends celebrating your success. What do you smell? Your friend's perfume, the food. What do you hear? The toast, the laughter, the clinking of glasses. What do you touch? The wood of the table, your partner's hand. Build the scene with the richness of a 4K movie. 2. The emotional injection, the glue. A thought without emotion is not recorded in long-term memory. You remember where you were on September 11th because there was a strong emotion, shock. You don't remember what you ate on September 11th 2 years ago because there was no emotion. For your brain to archive the future as a real fact, you have to inject it with an elevated emotion. While visualizing the dinner scene, you have to feel the gratitude, the euphoria, the relief. You have to feel it so much that it brings tears to your eyes. That emotion tells the body, it's happening, prepare the biology. Your body starts manufacturing dopamine and serotonin now. You are healing now. You are being rich now. 3. The repetition, the habit. A memory fades if it is not revisited. You have to return to that scene of the future every day. You have to water the memory. The more often you visit that place in your mind, the more solid the neural connection becomes. A point comes where that future is more familiar to you than your past. It feels more natural to be rich than to be poor. It feels more natural to be healthy than to be sick. When the future becomes your comfort zone, the 3D reality is forced to align. It is the law of quantum homeostasis. The reverse déjà vu technique. When you do this correctly, you will start having a very strange feeling in your daily life. New things will happen to you, and you will feel that you have been here before. You will have déjà vus. But they are not echoes of the past. They are echoes of the future you created. When you finally get the money or the partner, you won't feel an explosive surprise. You will feel a deep calm and recognition. Ah, yes, you finally arrived. I know you. We have been living together in my mind for some time. That naturalness is the sign that you did it right. Breaking the addiction to the past. The biggest obstacle will be your body. Midway through the visualization, your body will complain. It will feel restless. It will want to look at the phone. It will want to worry. It is the old self dying. The body tells you, hey, where is my dose of anxiety? We've been victims for years. I don't know how to be a creator. Go back to what's known. This is where you demonstrate your mastery. You have to calm the body like a scared animal. It's okay, we are safe, we are learning a new way of being. Return to the vision, over and over. Every time you overcome the urge to get up and you stay in the vision, you are rewiring your brain. You are killing the old self and being born again. Time is money, energy. Stop spending your time, energy, reliving old wounds. Every time you tell your sad story to a friend, you are investing energy in the past. You are paying to keep the past alive. Withdraw that investment. Start investing your energy in telling your future story. Talk about your dreams as if they were inevitable plans. Act with the certainty of one who has already seen the end of the movie and knows they win. The paradox of patience. By living in the future now, a curious thing happens. You stop being in a hurry. Hurry comes from the fear of not arriving. But if you have already arrived in your mind, why rush? Patience is not the ability to wait while suffering. Patience is the ability to maintain an excellent attitude while the 3D updates. It is knowing that the package has been shipped. You live in a state of excited expectation, like a child on Christmas Eve. You know the gifts are coming. You don't doubt. You just enjoy the magic of the eve. Chapter summary. Time is not linear. Past, present, and future coexist. Retrocausality. Your future self is calling you through desire. Memory of the future. You can create memories of events that have not physically happened. Emotion is the key. The body does not distinguish between real and imagined emotion. Detoxification. You have to break the chemical addiction to past emotions. Chapter 8. The density of the 3D, managing the delay. The safety buffer. Why matter is slow. You have reached a critical point in your training. You have mastered your attention. Chapter 2. You have entered the field. Chapter 3. And you have tuned the frequency of your desire. Chapter 4. You have done the internal work. You feel different. You know something has changed, but then you open your eyes. You look at your bank account and it is still in the red. You look at your body in the mirror and the illness is still there. You look at your phone and that person hasn't called. Days pass, weeks pass, and a cynical voice begins to whisper in your ear. You are fooling yourself. This doesn't work. If you were so powerful, it would already be here. Get back to reality. Welcome to the temporal lag. Welcome to the density of the third dimension. This is the moment where 90% of dreams die, not because the process has failed, but because the operator, you, does not understand the difference in speed between the two worlds you inhabit. You live simultaneously in two dimensions with opposite speed laws. The quantum world, 5D. This is the realm of mind and energy. Here speed is instantaneous. The moment you think of a pink elephant, the pink elephant exists in your mind. There is no friction. There is no time. Manifestation is immediate. The material world, 3D. This is the realm of matter and gravity. Here energy has condensed so much that it has become solid. And what is solid has inertia. Imagine you are the captain of a giant ocean liner, a 200,000-ton ship sailing full speed north, your old reality of scarcity. Suddenly you decide to change course. You turn the rudder hard to the east, your new reality of abundance. Does the ship turn instantly like a sports car? No. For a few agonizing miles, the ship continues moving north, dragged by its immense mass and its previous inertia. If you look out the window right after turning the rudder, you will see that the scenery hasn't changed. You are still heading north. If you are a novice captain, you will panic. You will think, the rudder isn't working, I turned and nothing is happening. And frustrated, you will release the rudder or turn it back to the center. But an expert captain knows the truth. The turn has already occurred in the engine room. It is only a matter of time before the bow obeys. Your physical reality is that heavy ship. You have spent years, perhaps decades, giving inertia to poverty, illness, or loneliness. You have accumulated a tremendous mass of dense energy in that direction. When you change your frequency today, you are turning the rudder. But matter needs time to reorganize its atoms. It needs time to slow the old inertia and gain momentum in the new direction. That period of time, between the change in energy and the change in matter, is the buffer, cushion. And far from being a system error, it is a safety mechanism. Imagine if 3D manifestation were instantaneous like in 5D. You are driving and you think, what if I crash? Boom, you crash instantly. You get angry at someone and think, I wish you would disappear. Zap, they disappear. You have a doubt about your business. Crash, bankruptcy in 1 second. It would be absolute chaos. We wouldn't survive even 24 hours. Our undisciplined mind would kill us. The temporal lag protects us from ourselves. It gives us a margin for maneuver. It allows us to have a negative thought without it materializing immediately. It gives us time to correct course. The delay is a blessing, not a curse. It gives you the opportunity to show the universe that you are serious. It allows you to sustain the frequency long enough for matter to solidify in a stable, not ephemeral way. But understanding this intellectually does not eliminate the pain of waiting. The problem is that we live in a culture of instant gratification. We click and buy, we swipe and get a date. We don't know how to wait. When reality doesn't obey our immediate mental click, we assume it is broken. You have to change your relationship with time. You have to understand that what you see with your physical eyes right now is not the present, it is the past. When you look at the stars in the night sky, you are not seeing the stars as they are now. You are seeing the light they emitted millions of years ago. Some of those stars have already died, but you still see them shining. Your physical reality works the same way. Your bank account today is the light of your thoughts and actions from 6 months ago. Your body today is the result of your habits and emotions from a year ago. Matter is the smoke trail of a fire that burned yesterday. The fatal mistake that most people make is reacting to the smoke trail as if it were the fire. You look at your bank balance, past, and you feel anxious, present. By feeling anxious today, you are sending a new signal of scarcity that will create more poverty in the future. You are perpetuating the cycle. You are using the past to create the future, skipping the present. To break the loop, you have to become an evidence denier. You have to have the audacity to look at your current reality and say, this is old, this is an echo. It has nothing to do with who I am now. My true reality is what I am gestating in the field, and it is on its way to download. It is like downloading a large file from the internet. You see the progress bar, 10%, 20%. The movie doesn't play yet. The screen is black. Do you shout at the screen? Do you cancel the download? No. You trust the technology. You know that the data packets are traveling through the wire. You know that it is inevitable that the movie will start if you don't touch anything. Your new life is downloading. The lag is simply the bandwidth of 3D reality processing the information. In this first part, I want you to make peace with slowness. Stop looking at the clock. Stop digging up the seed every morning to see if it has roots. If you do, you kill it. Assume the stance of inevitable knowing. It is coming. It is a physical law. It cannot not come. But what do we do while we wait? How do we manage the anxiety, the doubts, and the reality checks that life gives us while the ship turns? It is not enough to sit and wait. You have to wait actively. In the second part, I will teach you how to manage the valley of despair. I will teach you how to interpret the chaos that usually arises just before the change and how to maintain coherence when everything seems to be falling apart. The bridge of incidents walking on fire with faith. We have accepted that there is a delay. The ship is turning. But while it turns, the waves hit hard. Often when we start applying these principles, life doesn't immediately improve. Sometimes it gets worse. You ask for abundance and your car breaks down. You ask for love and your partner leaves you. You ask for peace and your neighbors start construction work. What is happening? Are you doing it wrong? No. You are doing it perfectly. Welcome to the restructuring chaos. To build a new building on an occupied plot, you must first demolish the old building. And demolition is noisy, messy, and chaotic. The old structure of your life, based on your old beliefs, is crumbling to make room for the new structure, based on your new frequency. The car breaks down because perhaps that breakdown will lead you to the workshop where you will meet a key partner, or because you needed to stop going to that draining place. The partner leaves you because they did not vibrate at the frequency of your new empowered self, and they had to leave to make room for the right person. Chaos is not a stop sign, it is a work-in-progress sign. The mystic Neville Goddard called the path between your desire and its materialization the bridge of incidents. It is a series of events, coincidences, and situations that take you from point A to point B. The trap is that the bridge of incidents rarely looks like a bed of roses. It often looks like a disaster. If you judge the bridge while you are in the middle of it, you will be terrified. I lost my job, this is horrible. You don't have the full picture. You don't know that firing was necessary to force you to start the business that will make you a millionaire. Your job during the lag is not to judge the events. Your job is to maintain the vision. You have to be the lighthouse that remains lit during the storm. If you lower your vibration at the first obstacle, you abort the process. You tell the universe, I don't trust, cancel the operation. Here are 3 strategies for surviving and thriving in the density of the lag. 1. The not yet strategy, cognitive reframing. When reality tells you no, you don't get the credit, the person doesn't call, you must not accept that no as final. Reframe it as not yet, or this or something better. If a door closes, don't keep banging on it. Assume it closed because there was a cliff behind it that you couldn't see. Tell the universe, thank you for protecting me. I know my desire or a better one is still on its way. I keep walking. This attitude of anti-fragility turns obstacles into fuel. You maintain the high frequency no matter what. 2. Living in the state of the wish fulfilled, acting as if. The best way to shorten the lag is to trick time. Time lengthens when you wait, lack. Time disappears when you are wholeness. You have to start living your life as if the desire were already a fact, within the possibilities of your current reality. If you were already rich, would you be anxious about the price of coffee? No. Maybe you can't buy the Ferrari yet, but you can buy the good coffee without guilt. You can walk with your head held high. You can be generous with a tip. These small acts of symbolic wealth tell your subconscious, we are already there, we already are that. If you already had a partner, would you be desperately searching on dating apps every 5 minutes? No. You would be calm, taking care of yourself, enjoying your home. Well, do that now. Prepare your house for 2. Sleep on one side of the bed. Generate the vacuum. Behave with the dignity of one who knows that their order is in delivery. No one waits for the Amazon delivery driver crying at the door. You wait by doing other things calmly. 3. The reality diet, ignoring the 3D. During the lag, your 3D reality is going to try to provoke you. It will try to pull you out of your center. The news, the bills, people's comments, everything will try to drag you to the old frequency. You have to go on a strict reality diet. It doesn't mean being irresponsible. It means withdrawing your emotional attention. Pay the bill, but don't cry over it. Listen to the problem, but don't internalize it. Spend more time on your inner world, visualization, meditation, than on your outer world. Your inner world is the architect's blueprint. Your outer world is the construction site. If it rains at the construction site, the architect doesn't tear up the blueprints. They protect the blueprints and wait for the weather to clear. Protect your vision. It is the only real thing you have. The breaking point. Often, just before the manifestation, the pressure is maximum. The night is darkest just before dawn. It is that moment when you say, "I can't take it anymore. I give up. This isn't working." That extreme tension is, often, the sign that the membrane between the dimensions is about to break. If you hold on for one more minute, if you breathe and return to your center, you cross the threshold. Most people give up 3 feet from the gold. Vibrational persistence is the only difference between the dreamer and the master. The sign that the lag ends. You will know the ship has finished turning when you start seeing synchronicities, small winks, repeated numbers, 1111. You run into someone talking about what you want. You see your dream car 3 times in one day. They are the movie trailers. They are the bubbles rising to the surface before the water boils. When you see this, don't say, "Oh, it's a coincidence," and say, "It's working, I see it. More of this, please." Celebrate the micro-manifestations. Celebration speeds up the process. Chapter summary. Matter is slow. It's not a fault, it's a 3D feature. Have active patience. The past is visible. What you see today is the echo of yesterday. Do not react to the echo. Bridge of incidents. The path may seem chaotic. Do not judge the process halfway through. Persistence. Maintain the vision when reality contradicts it. That is true faith. Chapter 9. Acting as the particle. Coherence in action. The couch myth. The physics of movement. We have reached the most controversial point in modern metaphysics. There is a toxic belief, propagated by certain superficial self-help books, that says, if you visualize enough, you can sit on the couch and wait for the universe's delivery person to bring the €1,000,000 to your door. This is false. And it is dangerous. Let's return to basic physics. You live in a world of matter. You have a physical body with legs and hands. While creation begins at the quantum level, wave, thought, it must end at the physical level, particle action, to be complete. The manifestation cycle is thought, wave, emotion, field, action, movement, result, particle. If you cut the chain at action, the energy accumulates but does not discharge. It gets trapped in the ether. It's like having a car engine revved to the max but in neutral. There is a lot of noise, a lot of vibration, but zero movement. The problem is that most people have a traumatic relationship with action. They associate acting with struggling. They believe that to achieve something they have to strive until they bleed, do things they hate, manipulate, push, and force closed doors. We call this forced effort or Newtonian action. It is action born of fear. If I don't do this now, I will be left with nothing. This action is exhausting and paradoxically pushes manifestation away because it emits a vibrational signal of lack and distrust. But there is another type of action, an action that doesn't tire, that flows, that feels as if you are being pushed from behind rather than having to drag yourself. Taoists call it wu-wei, effortless action. We will call it inspired action. Inspired action is the natural consequence of correct energetic alignment. When you have tuned the frequency of your desire, as we saw in Chapter 4, and you have visualized the future, Chapter 7, your body begins to receive electrical impulses to move. You get sudden urges to call someone. You feel curious about going to a new place. A brilliant idea occurs to you in the shower, and you can't wait to write it down. You don't act because you have to. You act because you can't help it. Imagine you are in love. Does it take effort to call that person? Are you too lazy to go see them even if they live far away? No. You run. You fly. You don't feel the fatigue. That is inspired action. The emotion of love moves you. When you are in love with your future, your vision, you will move towards it with that same energy. The mistake of the couch dreamers is that they want the result without participating in the game. The universe is a game of co-creation. You provide the vision, 50%, and the universe provides the opportunities, 50%. But you have to walk through the doors the universe opens. If the universe sends you a business idea and you don't execute it due to laziness or fear, the idea will die, or it will go to another person who is willing to act. In this first part, I want you to change your definition of work. Stop seeing action as the painful price you have to pay for your success. Start seeing action as the channel of reception. Action is the pipeline through which the universe sends you the gold. If you don't lay the pipe, if you don't act, the gold stays at the dam. Acting also has a vital psychological function. It confirms your faith. When you take a step towards the unknown, you are telling the quantum field, I trust so much that this will turn out well, that I am moving before seeing the result. That demonstration of faith collapses the wave faster than 1,000 hours of meditation. Acting as if it is already real is the most powerful form of prayer. In the second part of this chapter, I will teach you how to distinguish between forced action, fear, and inspired action, love. You will learn to read your body's signals, to know when to push and when to wait. And I will give you a protocol to start moving today, even if it's only a millimeter, in the direction of your dream. The movement protocol surfing the quantum wave. We already know we have to move, but how? Where to? How much? The key is not the quantity of action working 18 hours a day, but the vibrational quality of the action. Here is the guide to acting like a quantum master. 1. The traffic light test, distinguishing action. Before doing anything important, sending an email, making an investment, going to a meeting, take the traffic light test. Close your eyes and feel the energy of that action. Red light, forced effort. You feel heaviness in your stomach. You feel you have to drag yourself to do it. Your mind gives you logical reasons. You should do it because it's money. But your body says, I don't want to. Solution. Wait, don't act yet. Raise your vibration first. Look for a kinder way to do it, or simply don't do it. Green light, inspired action. You feel a spark, a tingling of excitement or curiosity. You feel lightness. Even if it scares you a little, due to leaving the comfort zone, there is an impulse to go forward. Solution. Move now. Inspiration has an expiration date. If you don't act when you feel the impulse, the energy dissipates. 2. The baby step rule, micro-actions. Sometimes the final vision is so big, becoming a millionaire, writing a book, that we become paralyzed. Fear blocks us. Do not try to jump the mountain in one go. The universe only needs you to take the first step. You don't need to see the whole staircase, just the first step. Ask yourself, what is the smallest, most ridiculous action I can take today that is aligned with my vision? If you want to write a book, write one sentence. If you want to run a marathon, put on your running shoes. If you want to start a business, buy the web domain. That small step breaks the inertia. It tells the universe, I am in motion. And once you are in motion, it is much easier to correct the course and keep moving. Movement generates momentum. 3. Act from identity. The Stanislavski method. This is the ultimate technique. Before making the call, before entering the meeting, ask yourself, how would the version of me who has already achieved success do this? Your poor self would make the call with a trembling voice, apologizing for bothering, expecting rejection. Vibration of lack. Your rich self would make the call with confidence, knowing they offer value, calm and kind. Vibration of abundance. Take 10 seconds to put on the suit of your quantum self. Change your posture. Take a deep breath. Put on the face your successful self would wear, and then act from that character. The result will be radically different, even if you say the same words, because the frequency you emit is different. People do not respond to your words, They respond to your energetic subtext. 4. Releasing the outcome, detached action. This is the most difficult nuance. You have to act with total commitment, but with zero attachment to the immediate result. You make the sales call with your best energy, but if they say no, you don't collapse. You understand that your job is to sow, not to force the plant to grow. If you put all your self-esteem into that specific action working, you introduce resistance, fear. Act for the pleasure of expressing your new identity, not out of the need to obtain something in return. Play, have fun. The universe loves playfulness. The case of doing nothing. Sometimes the inspired action is she doing nothing. Sometimes the impulse is to rest, sleep, go for a walk in the woods. In our productivist culture, this makes us feel guilty. But in the quantum world, rest is often the moment of greatest productivity. It is when you recharge the battery. It is when you leave space for ideas to arrive. If your body asks you to stop, obey it. Forcing the machine when there is no fuel only breaks it. Trust the cycles. After winter, rest. Spring, massive action, always comes. The sign that you are in flow. You will know you are acting correctly because you will lose track of time. You will enter what psychologists call flow. Hours will pass like minutes. You won't feel hungry or tired. You will be merged with the task. In that state you are not doing, the energy is doing through you. You are a clean channel. That is the ultimate goal, to turn your entire life into a state of continuous flow, where work is play and play is creation. Chapter summary. Without action there is no manifestation. You have to anchor the energy in matter. Don't force it. Action born of fear pushes the result away. Seek inspiration. Act when you feel the internal impulse, green light. Micro steps. Do the minimum necessary to break the inertia today. Act as the character. Embody your future self while doing today's things. Chapter 10. The complete hologram, you are the universe. The drop in the ocean. The end of the external search. Breathe deeply. Look around you. Look at your hands. Look at the walls of the room. For 9 chapters, I have taught you how to manipulate reality. I have taught you how to use your attention as a laser, your heart as a magnet, and your action as a channel. We have talked about you, the subject, and the universe and the object that gives you things. We have maintained a useful distinction for learning. You ask, the field responds. You tune, reality changes. But the time has come to tell you the final truth. The truth that mystics have kept secret, and that quantum physics is now shouting out loud. That distinction is false. There is no you separate from the universe. There is no God up there with a white beard, nor a cold computer matrix out there waiting for your orders. Everything we have called the quantum field, divine matrix, or infinite intelligence is not something external to you. It is the very fabric of your being. You are not in the universe. You are the universe in a body. To understand this, let's use the metaphor of the hologram. If you take a normal photograph and cut it in half, you have 2 halves of the image. If you cut a person's face, you lose the other half. But a hologram works differently. If you take a holographic plate containing the image of an apple and break it into 1,000 pieces, something incredible happens. If you take any of those small fragments and shine a laser on it, you will not see a piece of apple. You will see the whole apple, smaller with less definition perhaps, but whole. In a hologram, every part contains the information of the whole. You are that fragment. You are a fractal of the source. You contain, within the structure of your consciousness and your DNA, the totality of the information of the cosmos. You have the same creative power that formed the galaxies, only condensed into a human, localized format. Why is this crucial for your daily life? Because it radically changes the manifestation game. If you are the whole, then you lack nothing. The feeling of lack, I need money, I need love, I need health, is an optical illusion caused by believing you are only an isolated fragment. When you remember your holographic nature, you realize that you do not have to attract anything toward you, because you already have everything inside. You only have to reveal it. Money does not come from outside, from a client or a boss. Money is an energy that you activate within, and which then reflects outside. Love does not come from outside, from a partner. Love is a state of being that you turn on, and then someone appears to reflect it. Everything is an internal work of projection. Imagine a movie projector. The film is inside. The light is inside. The lens is inside. The screen, the world is outside. If you don't like the movie, you don't run to the screen to paint over it. You go inside and change the reel. You are the projector. You are the light. You are the film. And ultimately, you are also the screen. In this first part, I want you to feel the weight of this responsibility and the lightness of this freedom. If you are the universe experiencing itself, then you cannot fail. There is no one judging you. There is no one punishing you. The pain you experience is not a punishment. It is feedback. It is the system telling you, you are squeezing too hard. You are believing you are separate. Let go and remember who you are. Stopping the external search is the end of suffering. When you stop looking for validation in others, you become invincible. When you stop looking for security in money, you become magnetic to wealth. When you stop looking for God in the sky and find Him in your own breath, you become a channel for miracles. But accepting your divinity, your creative capacity, requires killing your small ego. The ego loves to feel like a victim. It loves to say, "Poor me, the world is cruel." The Creator says, "The world is what I say it is." That affirmation requires absolute courage. In the second part, we will talk about how to live from this expanded identity. We will talk about the final surrender, not surrendering to defeat, but surrendering to your own higher power to let it flow through you without the resistance of your small fears. The surrender of the ego allowing greatness to happen. If you are the miniature universe, why is your life so difficult? Why don't you manifest a palace tomorrow? Because there is a plug in the pipe. That plug is your small self, the ego. The small self is the part of you that believes it is separate, that has to fight to survive, that is afraid of the future and blames the past. The small self wants to control how things happen. It wants guarantees. It wants logical security. The great self, your quantum divine being, knows how to orchestrate synchronicity. It knows how to move the stars. It knows how to bring you what you need at the perfect moment. The conflict arises when the small self tries to do the great self's job. When you try to control the details, I want the money to come from the lottery on Tuesday. You are blocking the infinite intelligence of the great self. The final mastery is the art of getting out of the way. It is allowing the greater intelligence, which is you in your expanded version, to drive the car. Imagine you are a novice driver, ego, trying to drive a Formula One Ferrari on a tricky track. You are tense, you brake too late, you are scared. Next to you, in the passenger seat, is a world champion, your higher self. Surrender is not getting out of the car. It is letting go of the steering wheel and telling the champion, "You drive, I'll enjoy the ride." When you do that, the car flows. You take the curves perfectly. You reach the finish line in record time. How do you practice this? Through radical trust. Every morning, make a declaration of command session. Infinite intelligence, or great self, I hand over this day to you. I hand over my problems. I hand over my desires. Use me, think through me, act through me, lead me where I need to go. I trust that the plan you have is better than the one I can imagine. This is not passivity. It is the maximum spiritual activity. It requires constant vigilance so that the ego doesn't grab the steering wheel again when fear arises. When an unexpected bill appears, the ego screams, "Panic! I have to fix this myself." The master breathes and says, "No, this is part of the great self's plan. I don't know why it's here, but I trust it will resolve itself. I remain peaceful and wait for instructions." Inspired action. The state of flow. When you live like this, you enter what athletes and artists call the zone or flow. Things happen on their own. You write, and the words come out effortlessly. You negotiate, and the perfect sentences appear in your mouth. You are not doing, you are being done. You are an instrument played by the music of the universe. That is the ultimate goal of the collapse of the wave. It is not just getting the car or the house. It is living in a state of permanent grace where the struggle disappears. Gratitude as a state of being. The signal that you have reached this state is that you live in constant gratitude. You don't give thanks because something good has happened to you. You give thanks because you are alive and aware of your power. You give thanks for the air. You give thanks for the coffee. You even give thanks for the challenges because you know they are lessons designed by yourself to expand. Gratitude dissolves fear. They cannot coexist. When you give thanks, your frequency rises to the maximum. And at that frequency, miracles are the norm, not the exception. Your vibrational legacy. Finally, remember that by raising your frequency, you don't just save yourself. Because you are a hologram, when you change, the whole changes. Your upliftment affects your family, your friends, your city, and the entire planet. You are an acupuncture needle in the body of humanity. By healing yourself, you heal the network. There is no more altruistic act than being happy and abundant, because you show others that it is possible. You become a lighthouse. Chapter summary. You are a hologram. You contain the totality of the universe within. You lack nothing. Everything is internal. Reality is a projection. If you want to change the film, change the internal reel. Release control. Let your higher self drive. The ego only knows survival. The spirit knows how to fly. Flow and grace. Life doesn't have to be a struggle. It can be a dance if you stop resisting the music. Global responsibility. Your vibration affects the entire cosmos. Shine brightly. Conclusion. The wave is you. Turn off the equipment. Release the manual. Breathe. We have reached the end of the experiment. I want you to return for an instant to the beginning of this journey. Remember that closed steel box. Remember Schrödinger's cat, suspended in an eternity of maybe, alive and dead at the same time, waiting for someone to have the courage to lift the lid. For 10 chapters, we have explored the physics of the impossible. We have seen that matter is a ghost, that time is an illusion, and that separation is a myth. But the most important lesson, the one I want you to carry engraved in the nucleus of your cells, is this. You are never the cat trapped in the box. You are not the victim waiting to see if they are lucky or unlucky. You are not the one waiting to see if the atom disintegrates. You are the one who lifts the lid. You are the supreme observer. You are the consciousness that, with its mere presence, forces the chaos of the universe to order itself. You are the architect who decides moment by moment which version of the multiverse deserves the gift of your attention. Starting today, when you open your eyes in the morning, remember that you are not waking up to a world that is already made. You are entering your own laboratory, the walls of your room, the balance of your account, the health of your body. All of that are waves waiting for instructions. If you wake up in fear, you give them the instruction of danger, and they will solidify into problems. If you wake up with gratitude and certainty, you give them the instruction of miracle, and they will solidify into opportunities. You no longer have the luxury of ignorance. Before you could blame bad luck, the government, your parents, or the economy. You could say the world is like this. Now you know the uncomfortable and liberating truth. The world is not like that. The world is you. The world is your shadow. And if you don't like the shape of the shadow, it makes no sense to fight the flaw. You have to change the posture of the body that projects it. I know there will be difficult days. There will be days when the density of the 3D will crush you. Days when the temporal lag seems eternal and your logical mind screams at you to give up. On those days, do not fight. Simply breathe. Remember that reality is clay. Remember that a single moment of heart coherence can undo years of chaos. Remember that you have access to the Library of Babel in the 0-point field where your solution already exists. You did not come to this life to work, suffer, and die. You came to play with energy. You came to discover that you are a god in training, learning to wield the laser beam of your own mind. Go out there. Look your problems in the face and smile, because you know they are holograms running out of battery. Look your dreams in the face and claim them, because you know they are your true memory. The cat is not dead. The cat is not alive. The cat will be whatever you decide it will be. The wave is waiting. Collapse it with love. Collapse it with power. Collapse it with the certainty of one who knows that the entire universe is on their side.